Hello humans and future AI overlords. We're going to talk about Google Bard. So Bard is Google's response to OpenAI's ChatGPT. You can go to bard.google.com and you'll need to log in. And here is a very streamlined and simple interface. I really enjoy it. It indicates it's an experiment. You can see the option to reset chat. You can click to look at your BARD activity. You can look at frequently asked questions, updates and help. You can switch between light mode and dark mode. I prefer dark mode everywhere. You got enter your prompt down here at the bottom. You can use a microphone if you like. And even down here it says Bard may display inaccurate or offensive information that doesn't represent Google's views. And then up here, it also says, I'm Bard, your creative and helpful collaborator. I have limitations and I won't always get it right, but your feedback will help me improve. Not sure where to start? You can try brainstorming, which is my favorite thing to do with these tools, brainstorming ideas. So this is a great example, asking it, how I would use Python, to do a specific activity. That's amazing, to do chess and Python. And then tell me about code within the Google Drax GitHub repo. So this is, what's great about this tool is that it's connected to the internet, so it isn't limited by, like OpenAI's ChatGPT to September 2021. And I know that will change, and I think that's in the works. But the connection to the internet and having it, update its content and be relevant today is an issue. But I love how open all of these tools are about its limitations, and that it won't get it right, and it could display information that's not intended, which I think is very responsible to put that up front. But it's a powerful tool, and it's got so much potential to be used in so many different ways. I mean, it's still under development. I know Microsoft. I know Google is working on ways to improve it, just like Microsoft's working on their tool and OpenAI is working on their tool. And there's lots of people working on AI platforms and systems and applications. It's just amazing the amount of growth and change and development in this space. And it's so early. It's just amazing. I mean, AI has been around since conceptually for a very long time, since the 40s and 50s, early on. There's so much amazing stuff that you can do with Google Bard. I think you've got the creating text, poetry, code, scripts, email, letters, translating languages. I think that is a huge capability that Bard has with language translation. And then writing different types of creative content, stories and articles, just like the other tools. And then I feel like answering questions in an informative way. So I compare at a very basic level the three different AIs, and I find Google's Bard to be more of the technical kind of, boring yet accurate version of the AI tools. But one thing I heard, like when I originally started playing with it, it couldn't do anything with code, which was really frustrating. I'm like, Google is about development, and I was shocked. But I know they were, basically, trying to respond to OpenAI and what they did in November, and just try to pull stuff together. And they've done a good job. I know that they had some stumbles early on, but I mean, I think they've recovered really well, and they're being very responsible about what they're doing with AI. And I feel like the way that it answers and responds is really cool. So, you get three drafts, essentially is what you get. So why don't I go ahead and the drafts, they really range in, um, the style, the tone, the content. And I guess they're kind of tweaking these to kind of figure out what's the right way they want to make this work. But why don't I just do what we did before with Bing Chat and just ask, what is Google Bard? I love the animation. So yeah, look at that, fast, speedy. That's awesome. Google's a large language model developed by Google AI. It's based on the PaLM LLM, large language model. And it's, going to geek out here a little bit. But it's, I love how it's like, following instructions and completing requests thoughtfully, using the knowledge to answer the questions in an informative way, generating different creative content, and then they're saying it's still under development and it may, and information may not be accurate. But there's some examples of what it can do. It's generate text, translate languages, write different types of creative content, and answer questions in an informative way. Bard's a powerful tool. I mean, that's a great explanation. Let's see here. So if we click on more, you can copy, you can report legal issues. I know that you can like thumbs up. I feel like it's a good response. I'm going to thumbs up it. It looks like you can export the response, and then you can Google it. So let's just hit Google it. And it's got the prompts right there. So let's just click on Google Bard. And so here we are in Google, looking at a Google search of Google Bard. So I think what's great about this, it's got a really easy, Google it button down here that I think is pretty fantastic. And then of course you've got related topics, which I think is great too. 'Cause sometimes, when you're looking at something, you're like, oh, where do we go next? I love it when they, a lot of the tools, you tend to kind of do that now, prompt you for related content. So you've got the edit text up here. It looks like it can update, the original prompt. I'll just cancel out of that. And you can see here, this is the view other drafts. So I'm gonna click on that. And this is where you can see you've got draft one. So it's saying, that's the one that we're looking at right now. Switch over to draft two. So this one is, it's a conversational AI chatbot developed by Google. So it's still got a lot of the same content, but it's maybe a little bit more accessible in the way that it kind of broke out the response with more bulleted content, but essentially the same. So these drafts, while I find them to be really cool, I'm not sure, I've not found them to be particularly useful, to be honest. I'm going to click here. It looks like you can regenerate the drafts. And so we'll click that, and I guess we'll see what it comes up with regeneration. So it looks like it's got some different examples. It's very similar, to be honest. This looks, again, very similar to what we saw before. So I think, the drafts are very subtle. Maybe for something crazier, it would operate a little bit differently. But let's go in here and say, create a picture of a llama wearing a sweater on the moon. So it looks like it's still learning to create images, so it can't help me with that yet, which is fine. That's great. I love it when the tools say, hey, I can't do that. One of the superpowers that I recently learned that Google Bard can do, like it could do code initially, but now it can do code, and not only can it help with development, like it can help you, like when you don't understand a function, have it explain it to you, give you examples. Or you can put code in it that you don't understand what is happening, and it can explain it to you. It can map it out. It can even document your code for you. It's pretty sweet. But it can convert different code to different code. So if it's a language translation for code. So for example, what programming languages do you know? And I know it's like around 30 some languages, and I'm sure it's just going to get smarter and smarter. Well, there's a list of some good languages. So it's still under development. It's learning new languages all the time. Um, can you convert code from one programming language to another? Let's see if the stories are true. Yep, I can convert code between different versions of the same language. So Java 8 to Java 11. When I convert code, I try to preserve original code. So maybe this isn't quite as, if you need, uh, it looks like we can ask for help. It will do its best, but that was one superpower that I heard that sounded pretty exciting, and maybe it's just too early right now, and but still, Bard feels very much like I'm going to click Bard activity here, so you can see some Bard activity, down here, and things that we've asked. We can look at the frequently asked questions, and these frequently asked questions I think are fantastic. Explaining what Bard's all about its accurate and safe responses. Google's AI principles. I think they're really trying to really be very transparent in the tool. I'll go back to the Bard FAQ. So there's lots of wonderful content. Can Bard help with coding? Originally it couldn't, yet it can. So it's great. And then it looks like Bard's citing sources. And anyway, but this, I think, frequently asked questions is something to definitely explore if you want to get deeper into Bard. But I do have to say I'm enjoying Bard. I use it. I think this help is pretty sweet too. Report a problem. But I'm just gonna hit reset here. Reset. Take me back. So yep. So Bard is still in its experimental phase. Chatting with it and rating its responses will help improve the experience. I think Google is doing a great job of, getting a tool out there on the marketplace. I know that they talked about in Google I/O recently working on an update to Google Search. I think what Microsoft has done with Bing is pretty amazing. Now, of course, Bing doesn't have the market share that Google does, so Google has more to lose with significant changes. So I think, they have to take a little bit more, intelligent approach to this. Their search is their bread and butter. So, drastically changing that is going to be very impactful, for users and creators, and how do you monetize it with ads, and so it's going to be very interesting to see how AI will change search. But so right now the three primary chatbots that I play around with are OpenAI's ChatGPT, Microsoft Bing Chat, which uses OpenAI's GPT-4, and then Google Bard, which uses PaLM, the large language model from Google. So, and they're all very different, but I find Bard to be a great tool, and I'm looking forward to see how Google evolves AI into its tools. When they announced it, they've done AI for a long time. Google has been doing it for a very long time, it's it baked into so many of their tools, but they're going to be, doing it even more, putting more of that AI experience front and center in the hands of the users, similar to how I think Microsoft is approaching it, using the open AI tools, integrating them across all their products. So we've got lots of great things to look forward to. I am excited to be here um, and learning about these tools. I hope you are too. But this is just a little bit about where to go to get Bard, how to get started, where to go with the prompt, some of the basic user experiences, but we'll dive deeper. Have a great day.